Yep, that's the Earthmover.
Ultrakill was released on September 3rd of 2020 and was made by RC Hikita Patala, whom also makes the music for this game, which is what you're hearing right now. Despite what most people think, Ultrakill is not a traditional FPS. It's a movement game where you get the privilege of blowing things up. In the timeline of Ultrakill, World War I is called the Final War, and it lasted for 200 years. And the Earthmovers are a product of a series of enemy countries creating machines to counter other machines, which eventually led up to these titans known as Earthmovers. Earthmovers have a shield generator, which makes them impervious to range attacks, but are vulnerable from within. So these two behemoths fighting each other is pretty useless, almost like a war without reason. But this is where V1 comes in. You, a 4-foot tall robot that was made specifically to counter these machines, crawling up their leg like an ant. Earthmovers first appear in the background of 7-2, but you can fight one in 7-4, which is nicknamed Benjamin. Before I get to anything, I was considering using footage of me beating the Earthmover since I'm building one, but the footage is super boring, so you're getting Cybergrind gameplay. Anyway, this is a roller coaster project where you have to build a marble coaster, make sure it works, and do some calculations based on said coaster. This is where it all began, the minds of me and two of my friends with a combined IQ still being a double-digit number. One of my friends in this project now happened to be one of my partners in 8th grade for a coaster project. And considering that abhorrent abomination we made then, I figured this would be our redemption project. Now, since I'm definitely not addicted to Ultrakill, I decided to propose the idea of an Earthmover. My friends agreed to this because my severe lack of brain power wears off on them and in turn makes it so nobody can think properly. When I told my teacher in class that the build was going to be about a meter tall, he said, cool, bigger the better. Definitely not foreshadowing at all right here. Anyway, the first day was a bunch of planning and cutting things out after I had taken every box from my parents' garage to use for this thing. And as soon as I found out that making the legs and upper body 50-50 of 1 meter was not going to work out. So basically every proportion drawn out was now just a suggestion. At the end of the first day building, I realized how much time this would take, and the next day I spent probably about 10 hours with some doom scrolling sprinkled in. I also happened to have started this project when the great southern snowstorm of 0 inches of snow and barely dipping below 30 happened. So I made the great decision of putting 30 hours into Ultrakill in 3 days. Yeah, I'm not doing that again. For anyone out there that wants to make something out of cardboard, I strongly suggest using a metal ruler or a solid straight edge because not only does it look better, it saves a lot of time and a lot of glue. But glue in my case wasn't a problem whatsoever because my dad had stocked me up with a large glue gun and 5 pounds of glue sticks that he just found in his garage. There were virtually no problems except for the fact that Benjamin's legs weren't even after I attached them. One of them was kicked out and longer than the others, 2 were leaning in and the other just wasn't long enough. So after some knee surgery, Benjamin could finally stand up well. Upon taking it to school, the science teachers were immediately surprised by it, especially one of them who said, yeah, I don't know about that when I showed him the sketch a few days prior. Considering the amount of eyes Benjamin was attracting unfinished, I couldn't imagine what would happen when it was finished. Anyway, after taking this guy home 2 days later, the head was ready to be attached and the coaster was starting to be put on. I'll reveal statistics of Benjamin in the end, such as hours spent and other things. I don't know, I feel like it. At this point, it's about Friday and Benjamin needs an arm, more coaster, and paint. This project is due Monday. So on Saturday, the coaster was fully attached and I had built the arm. And for once, I came up with something intelligent. A collapsible arm. This proved to be my greatest decision, or only good idea, in the entire project, because at this point Benjamin would barely fit in my car, and a giant arm wouldn't really help that, especially since it's sticking out to the side. I attached the arm, which served as a support for 2 spots on the track, so at least it wasn't cosmetic. Then on Sunday, the day before the due date, my dad helped reinforce the track, then added a layer of paint. After the paint dried, I went to make eyes. Thankfully, I had cardboard with a layer of white on it, so I just cut out 6 little circles and glued them on for the final edition of Benjamin. Alright, here's some statistics. Hours spent, I don't know, probably around 40 to 50. Benjamin height, 6'1" or 1.85 meters tall. Money spent, $40, only cause of paint. Hours currently on Ultrakill. I think this speaks for itself. And this is the final part of the project, Doc's reaction. Yes, I asked for his permission first before including this in the video.
Morning, morning.
I can come in?
Yep.
Okay, I thought maybe you guys didn't want me to say it or something. Oh, nice. Dang. Well, I'll have to keep this one for a long time.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah.
That's
thank
the
you.
coolest one I've had in 11 years of teaching.
Yeah.
Now, a huge thanks to my two friends that spent all this time making the Earthmover with me, and at least they enjoyed it, so I don't have to feel bad about dragging them into this. Also, you may have noticed the gameplay is just a little bit wild, and I kind of want this video to end off, so here's me finally getting defeated.